Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. So a few days ago I rediscovered that you can 4-bet pretty wide in certain spots, especially against opponents who aren't calling 4-bets enough, so they are 3-bet folding way too much. I also thinking that I am probably 3-bet folding too much in certain spots. So what I'm going to do is look at my database, and we're going to make a filter and look for certain hands in which we had the opportunity to 4-bet when we faced 3-bet. So I'm going to add filter, actions and opportunities, pre-flop. So we put money in the pot, so we first raised. I'm going to add to the filter and then add another filter where pre-flop actions encountered. So pre-flop action faced with size. We faced a 3-bet between basically 0.0 big blinds and 100. So those are all the 3-bets. Add to filter, and thinking if we should add something else. Probably not. Let's start with this and look at some hands. So we're going to apply. Okay, and we're going to take a look at if we find some interesting hands. So here we flat call. I'm not sure if I like this flat call actually, but that's he jams. Yeah, of course you can't call. Maybe I should make it so that we don't face null in, of course, because then it's not a situation which we can 4-bet. So I should add another filter. Actions and opportunities, pre-flop. No, pre-flop. Faced pre-flop all in, add the filter and not. Save and apply. Okay, so we are losing in these spots quite heavily. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. This is not exactly the hand I was hoping for because we didn't raise first, but maybe. Yeah, whatever. We're going just to the next hand. So maybe we should be 3-betting this hand. So the big blind, no 3-bets. He calls. Interesting spot. We call as well. So this might be a spot where we should 4-bet. Should just get it in because our hand is so strong. He 3-bets a lot. So I'm going to run this sim. See you in a moment. In this simulation we have the first opener open something like this, 24%. I think that's reasonable. Then we call, and then this guy 3-bets. Now here his range is very tight, basically only value, only 5%, which probably isn't the case. He's probably 3-betting a lot more, but I left it like this. Then This guy is calling. It's kind of a strange range. It's he might be calling more these hands, but probably isn't. In these hands he's 3-betting. So then this should be fixed as well. Yeah. So if we go all in now after this guy calls the 3-bet, he will call this. So he's folding ace queen and ace jack, and all the rest he's 3-betting with. He's calling, so he's basically never folding. In this case, we can only, well, we can jam tens and jacks, but not nines. The thing is also, he's basically never calling a jam unless he's trapping with aces. So that's why this situation is really good. But why it is really bad is because this guy is only having value. But now let's change the sim, and so let's make it that he also has some more bluffs or like hands he wouldn't call us with. So maybe like 7-8 suited, 9-8 suited, something like this. Maybe ace-5 suited. Maybe even ace-jack offsuit. It's a bluff. Something like this. Let's add in a few more. So now it's 7% instead of 5. But he's still calling the same range. So he's calling this only if you go in. Now we've made this little adjustment where this guy is now 3-betting some bluffs, but he's still calling the same hands when we go all in, namely these ones. And all of a sudden we can 4-bet jam a shit ton of hands. Like a fucking shit ton. Look at this. Look at fucking this, man. How is this possible? And it is because he's not calling nearly enough. They will almost always fold, and he as well. Especially it's like dead money in the pot. So maybe, so yeah, I'm going to make things like a little bit worse for us now. So maybe we can find like balance in between, because this is really optimistic for us that this guy is basically always folding. Let's say, why for example couldn't he have pocket tens? He definitely could, right? I'm going to take a look at this. So, oh, because he's not necessarily 4-betting in all in pocket tens, right? Or pocket eights, no. Let's say he has tens as well. He's probably jamming jacks. Maybe he has ace queen suited as well. So let's make it like this, and then this guy does call with these hands. Is he calling with sixes? Probably not. Right. And it will be good for us if he calls with sixes. So let's remove these hands. Now let's look at our range. So we can still 4-bet jam all these hands, which is crazy because no one is doing this. But maybe we're still like making situations too favorable for us. I'm not sure. So let's say he doesn't have 7-8, 9-8. He does have these. Maybe not even ace jack off. So Yeah. So basically only these hands has bluffs, and he is folding ace jack, I think. What is yeah, he's calling ace, let's say he's calling ace queen off, which is a lot of hands he's folding here that he's now calling, which we're flipping against. Okay, let's go again. And now things changed drastically again. As you can see now, we can only get it in these hands, and it's even debatable if we even have jacks or ace king offsuit, because we might 3-bet them almost all the time, especially jacks. So it all really heavily depends on the balance between, or the ratio in which he's 3-betting and calling us, or 3-betting and folding us. So if he's 3-betting and folding a bit too much, we can go all in really wide, and if he's 3-bet calling us decently, we cannot go all in with many hands at all, if even any hands. So I'm going to adjust this one last more time to maybe see like a reasonable one, because like here he's only folding these 3 hands, which are only 12 combinations. He's calling all these, so he's rarely ever folding. He's only like folding 1/10 at a time, I think. I'm never getting called, but these hands were not in such a good shape. We're flipping or dominated. So let's maybe add in a few more hands. So again, like let's say, because but 10-9 suited, he's not going to 3-bet. Let's add in, doesn't really matter actually, but 7-5 suited, excuse me. So, and I'm going to let this, or maybe I can do just this, best response. Now we can move in with 9s. Let's look at this range. If we only have 9s 26% of the time here, because he apparently chose to 3-bet this. So let's maybe adjust a little bit more. Let's say he also has 6-4 suited, and let's say he, for example, has king queen, but is also calling king queen suited. So yeah, like this. And now we can go all in still a little bit. So now 9s is an all in. So actually it's pretty borderline. I don't mind going all in here. It's definitely not bad. If for any reason this guy was a bit too wild and is like deciding to 3-bet more crazy hands, or maybe he's 3-bet calling, let's say he's 3-bet calling for some reason 5s and 6s, 7s, maybe 8s and 9s as well, I guess then. Let's see what happens then. Then we can profitably jam 9s for sure. So actually, I think this was a spot we should have gone all in. I'm pretty sure we should have. Yeah, 9s is just really up there. We shouldn't be. If you look at in this situation, you can look at queen 10 suited, king 10 suited. We probably shouldn't be doing that. Here it would be a bit too wide, because now this is a really good situation. Most players won't be. So let's make it like 8s and 9s is in there. And maybe for he's if let's see if he, let's do it just like this first. So yeah, the 9, as you can see, 9s is still in there, so we have to be like this tight. So yeah, I really think we should have gone all in. Pocket 9s. Let's try and look for a new hand now. This is an interesting scenario. So we open from the button, and this guy 3-bets, but of course looking at his stats, he has been 3-betting basically never before, like only once. So of course we should just fold this hand, but let's look at some calculations. and see against other players who have other frequencies what we should do. So just a moment. Advanced hand. So we open to like 2 points, 2.3 I think, and he 3 bets to, I know, I have a better idea. No, so I open to 2.6, and he 3 bets to 8.3, which is rather small, which also indicates the fact that he probably has a strong hand. But you know, against this guy it's very easy what you should do. You should just almost always fold or only play the best hands. So let's just wait a moment, this won't take too long. So we open raise. It's so annoying that you can't, that you always have to click them. I'm just going to edit this out. So we open something like this, 40%. Then let's just make it like he's only betting for 3-betting for value and see what he does. So he's only 3-betting for value. Boom, boom. He's probably not even 3-betting these, but these hands, 2.6%. He also has one 2.27, but it's only like, yeah, only 44 situation, which isn't that much. So you know, he might be 3-betting jacks, he might be 3-betting ace queen suited, but probably not. Does better. Do it like this. And now let's run it again and see what we can call. So, oh, but this is 4-bet. Why isn't it call? Oh, I know why it isn't. I need to allow flat calling of 3 bets. So yeah, let's do that now. So now that we can call the 3-bet, let's take a look at what he's suggesting. That's really interesting. So he's of course he's only 4-betting aces, ace king suited. I don't know why I would do that ace king suited, but of course with aces, because he has a really strong hand. You want to raise aces and get all the fucking chips, because if you just call and there comes a board like 10, 10, 9, he might become really scared with his aces or kings, and especially with his ace king, you're not getting the money. So against tight 3-betters, you really want to just get your aces in, because they won't fold. They have a strong hand, you know. It's as easy as this. And so he's only advocating calling the pocket pairs and yeah, and the nuts, basically ace king. He's even advocating calling kings, which I wouldn't. I would just get it in as well, because you see there's a lot of profit to be made getting it in. In queens, as we cannot profitably get queens in. So yeah, it's actually crazy, because I'm not 100% sure if it's profitable to call with these hands, because he's going to bet almost any flop. We're not going to realize our equity that well. Also, if we hit our card, it's only 40 big blinds. If we were a bit deeper, if we were 50 big blinds, sure, call, because you can also steal the pot a lot when they have ace king, because they play probably pretty straightforward. So yeah, but now let's make it so that our villain has like a reasonable 3-bet range. Let's say so this is the range I got from from raise your edge. So we're 3-betting and getting it in, or calling and all in with these hands and folding with these hands. Now let's take a look at, okay, what if we 4-bet, what is he calling? So are these hands, right? Okay, so against that strategy, we can be 4-betting, getting it in these hands. That is because he's not bluffing that much, I guess. So this is a really balanced range. Of course, that's, I got it from Raise Your Edge. They also did the Sims, and they yeah, but what I see now is that he could be 3-betting a lot more. Let's say, for example, he's also 3-bet bluffing these hands. Then, bam! All of a sudden, we can jam so fucking wide. It's crazy, man. It's so crazy. So now, these are quite a lot of hands. So we went from 11%. Let's say, let's add in 2. Let's say these 2 hands. So 1.7% more. And now we can jam 26%. What the fuck, man? Isn't that crazy? I mean, can't we just 4-bet jam so many hands? Then I'm going to try this when playing against someone I'm thinking who's 3-betting pretty aggressive against our button range. I'm going to start jamming so many hands. So let's say, for example, he's also 3-bet calling 7s and 6s. Let's rerun it. What the fuck? Oh, this is call range. Okay, so now we can only 4-bet this. Wait, can we? Why? Oh, that is strange. So now it shows me we can 4-bet this, but if I do, but why aren't we shoving king queen suited then? If it's this profitable, we're not 7s. It is in a raising range, right? And 3-bet. Calling this. Hank, so strange. Why is it only showing now? We can 4-bet 5.9% these hands, but these are also profitable. So yeah, I think I don't understand why it doesn't show in the first place. Interesting. Or not. Okay, I figured out what is happening. So remembered we added the option to call as 3-bet, and the reason we aren't shoving these hands is because they are more profitable calling. But we shouldn't always trust Hold'em Research Calculator based on calling, because he isn't, this is what I've heard, what they learned me. He isn't always best at calculating these situations. He's better at just shoving or folding situations, reshove situations. Anyway, so still we're noticing the trend here that if he's 3-betting a bit too much, folding, and then folding to 4-bets, we can shove really wide. So of course this hand, we will never be 4-betting this hand against this player, but yeah, you saw the results. So let's look for more hands. So now we're much deeper. Let's take a look, and he's raising uh, decent sizing. So let's also add this hand into the simulator calculator. It is both, I think. Oh, raising 2.6, 3 at 9.5. Again, going to loud flat calling. Maybe this. Yeah, I'm going to allow it. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's take a look. What is our raising range? This is again 6 max. That's way too aggressive. Something like this doesn't matter too much. Yep. And he is 3-betting. Now we're deeper, so he actually has less hands. He can 3-bet for value now and get it in with. So he should be bluffing less, I think. So he's probably only going broke with these hands, maybe not even these hands. Pocket tens, yeah. Let's see with these hands. So then what is he bluffing? All potential bluffs. Again, these hands are potential bluffs. I'm going to again use the raise your edge propositions, start from there. This is not this one. King jack off, king 7, king 6 off, 5 4 suited, and he's giving 7. Oh crap. So again, this was 3-bet broke range, and 3-betting these hands, these hands. Tip, 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 tip. King 7, king 6, 10, 7. Yeah, so this is it. So it's not 3-betting a lot, actually, not at all. Okay. And if we 4-bet, so he's calling these hands indeed. Wait, why is it? Okay, never mind. Yeah, this hand wife. No, it's not 14%. It's the fuck. It's these hands. Oh, okay. Let's run it again. Let's see. Okay, it's not going to take that long. Okay, what is happening here? So so he's advocating almost always calling and never actually four betting as a bluff. But he's only calling aces and kings profitably against the strategy. Hmm. Okay, this is interesting. So yeah, this is actually pretty good. These are really good ranges. Okay, let's now again adjust a little bit. So this guy, he already three bet uh, once again out of two times. So he's probably three betting a little bit more. Let's say he's also three betting, for example. I don't know which hands should I add. Like I'm again going to use weight. So we're going to say he's also treating this, then this. And maybe, for example, this one. So those are quite some more hands. And let's now. So now we are jamming these hands. So when is it? 36. Yeah. It is kinda crazy to. For bet jam, of course, we should maybe add in for bet sizing, which is not a lane. Then these calculations become pretty complicated, although I'm not really sure actually. Maybe I should try this. Because I'm not sure we can really um, say that we either call this or go all in, because we could also just 4-bet to like 20 big blinds or 25 rather, and then we can still see what he does. So I'm going to do that and see you in a minute. Actually, see you right now. So, strange thing that is happening now is that the response I get is that he's never going to call or four bet. He's always going to go all in with these hands. So I guess that opens the door for a lot of four bet bluffing. But so he advocates basically four betting just pure value, just calling all these three bets, and he's never calling a four bet. So yeah, this is kind of strange. I actually think we kind of hit a limit what Hold'em Resource Calculator can do for us in these situations. But let's say that we add some bluffs, like we four bet as a bluff, maybe King Jack off, King Jack off, King 10 off. That's it. Now he's still calling the same. Wait a second. So what exactly changed? Not too much. So thing is, we can't really do anything against this, right? Yeah, it's just losing, and now he is going to call with some of these hands, and in fact to just jam so much if we bluff these hands. Damn, that's crazy. They put a lot of, really a lot of thought in these raise your heads ranges. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. But so now let's adjust a bit. Let's say he's bluffing a little bit more. That's what we were going to do last time. But then had to change these things. So let's say he's three betting these hands. All of this crap. More. Now I'm going to unlock and look at best response. So now we can 4-bet ace queen jack stands profitably, but we still can't bluff, right? Let's say he's doing something crazy. I don't know. I just want to see what's happening. Look, now things start changing. Now we can start 4-betting a lot more. Okay. Let's look for some more hands, but first I'm going to change the filter a little bit and make it so that the effective stacks are smaller. So hand details, pot size preflop, effective stack size between let's take 30 and 50. Maybe, yeah, 30, 20, let's take 25, 50. Add filter. Okay, save and apply. Oh, we're losing a lot in these situations. This is not good. So it's good that we're doing this exercise, of course, very good, because we're clearly making mistakes in these spots, clearly making a lot of mistakes. This is not really, oh, excuse me, not really the situation we're looking for. This one we already did. Okay, so this is a good spot to look at. What did we do here? What should we do? 26 big blinds. I think, you know, call or go in. Folding is definitely out of the question. What did I do? I go in. Yeah, it does surprise me. I thought I would go in. Calls. And we will a really nice lucky pot. Okay, let's put this in. Let's close these. Oh crap, what did I do? I undo. Crap. So again, this is actually such a tell. He said raising so small, so small. This is such. I really should pay attention to these noobs and their fucking tells, man. I really should. I recently wrote it on my blackboard really big. Do use timing and sizing tells versus noobs. Because this is a sizing you should in theory never be using, because it's only good with aces or kings, right? And if these noobs do it, they probably have aces or kings most of the time, or not maybe most of the time, but it's very unproportional. So I'm going to write it again on my board. So this is again such a strange situation. Now thinking, well, paying more attention to the sizing. I didn't really pay attention in the beginning. we should definitely not go all in because we get such a really good price to call. Plus the fact that he's really, well, I wouldn't even say polarizing himself. He's just telling me that he has aces or kings probably. Just, yeah, such bad play, man. Um, yeah, so I'm not sure if what I should do here. Um, so we opened it into 2.6. Let's make it 6 big blinds and allow the flat calling. Okay, let's finish. So this is the opening range I gave, and then although this situation is really strange because of the sizing, I just tried something out. I gave him this 3-betting range, and he's basically almost always calling. So he's basically only folding Queen Jack, Jack 10, 10 9 when we go all in. And in this case, we should only go all in with the really strong hands. So we definitely shouldn't have called. Now let's make it so that he's really the idiot and he's like only having really good hands. He's probably not even having these hands because he isn't comfortable playing them post flop. So he makes a big sizing or he even goes all in. Let's say he has this ultra netty range with this. What do we do then? I hope no, this won't take too long. So yeah. It, I don't think these are the most interesting spots to analyze because they don't occur that much, and as you can see, you can just use the tile and just crush your opponent and just only only get it in with these hands. I maybe yeah, okay, you can't fold queens or kings for it, even if you have this sizing tile, because he's probably a bad player, but I've also seen bad players do this with a lot of crappy hands, but mostly you can see it and in forehand they are like clicking buttons, they're stupid. Um, Anyways, what does surprise me is that we can call pretty wide, although it's not really profitable that much. Like I said before, calling calculating calling spots with Holm Resource Calculator is not the best thing to do. So let's move on to another hand. And I see this video is already taking quite a while, so I'm not going to add on too much hands anymore, too many hands I should say. What's happening here? A limper, bad player. ISO and he limp raises, classic. Just fold. I mean, yeah, just fold. It's just, I don't know. What do I do? Yeah, I fold. I like the fold. I think not going to run this because again, what is this situation? Okay, this might be more interesting. Okay, that's again tight guy, so done folding here perfectly fine. But we are going to. Are we going to put this in? I don't know. I'm going to look for a little bit more interesting spot, something we didn't really before, maybe because we 2 hands ago this was also the same stack sizing. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting spot. We open King 10 from the button. We're only 5-handed. This guy don't have a lot of hands, but only 8 hands. It has been active, but can't say that much. He 3-bets. Yeah, I fold. Let's take a look at. So So I edited already our opening range at the same. This is what HRC advocates, 3-betting, and I should be calling all these hands, but let's change it to the 3-bet range we think he has. So what is he 3-betting for value? All these hands, he wants to get them in. King queen, yeah, he's queen off, ace 10 suited, probably. Something like this. Maybe even king jack suited. Let me just take a look at some suggestion ranges I have here. Hmm. So yeah, like this seems pretty reasonable. Now, what might he be bluffing? So in this case, it's not that good to bluff with these weaker hands, but more with blocker hands to or shoving range, so hands like this. Within 100% of this. Maybe it's a king 8, queen 8, 8 suited, king 7 suited, maybe something like this, and something like this. And let's run it and look at the result. So we can 4-bet pretty fucking wide. Well, pretty wide. It's not actually that wide. Excuse me, my ear was itching. Tremendous amount. Yeah, something like this. And he's actually calling all this. Let's say he's not calling this. Right? So like this. Then we can 3-bet really 4-bet wide. We can't even, no, not king 10 offsuit. We can 4-bet all these hands. But is it actually profitable to open these hands? Yes, in this case it is, because he's again probably not calling enough. Well, let's say he's even 3-betting more hands, like these hands. And now, boom, a little bit more, and we can 3-bet or rather 4-bet even more. That's still king 10 bit here. So this is really the trend I'm seeing, that really quickly you can 4-bet shove all in when people are 3-betting bluffing way too much. So that's really interesting. I'm going to end this video for now. Probably going to do more simulations later today. Maybe again ask on the forum. No, I will ask it on the forum. I can, by the way, prove to you, I will now, I'm going to do this next video also, that I did post it here, my question. I don't know, let me check if you can see it properly. Yeah, you'll probably be able to see this. So yeah, this is the hand review, the things I did in the previous video. I asked this, some voiceover work I did, some people giving me advice. Yeah, so and I will post another analysis today of an HRC hand, that another hand, not from this video. I'm going to prove it in the next one that I did post it in the forum or on Discord, wherever I find it to be the best place to do so. So thank you for watching. Again, nobody's probably watching this whole video, which is perfectly fine. I'm actually happy about this because I'm probably making a fool of myself sometimes. Doesn't matter. I'm learning a lot. Um, yeah. Bye bye, people.